Hello students, uh, welcome to today's session on Introduction to Polynomials. So students, today we are starting with the new chapter which is Polynomials, where we'll read about the polynomials and we'll read about the classification of the polynomials and so on. So this session is completely towards the Introduction to the Polynomials. Polynomials. Now, student, if I'll give you one question that if it is 2x cube plus 3x square plus 7x plus 2. And if I'm giving you one more expression, 2x to the power of 3 plus 7x is equals to 0. Now, students, if you can see that these both equation which I have written right now, they come under the algebraic expression. They are nothing but the algebraic expression. Algebraic expression. Then what about the polynomials? What do you mean by the polynomial? So student, if we'll talk about the polynomial, polynomials are the subset. Polynomials are the subset of the algebraic expression. Then you might be knowing, you might get worried, or you might be questioned that what do you mean by the polynomials? So polynomials means something. The polynomials is, it is having two terms, poly and nomials. Poly and nomials. Now over here, poly means many. Poly means many, and nomial means terms. Poly means many and many means term. So the definition of polynomial will be, polynomials are subset of algebraic expression. Polynomials are subset of algebraic expression. Now, in the polynomials, we can have multiple operation. So it can have the operation of add. So it can have the multiple operations. Now, what operations it can have? Either it can have addition, or it can have subtraction, or it can have the multiplication. That means the expression which contains one or more terms with non-zero coefficient. Non-zero coefficient is called the polynomials. It's called the polynomial. Now, the question comes that what is there inside the polynomial? What is there inside the polynomial? So student, if I'll give you one example, that there is an equation which is 2x square minus 3x plus 7. So this is something the polynomial. Now let's break it term by term, coefficient by coefficient, and variable by variable. Now in this student, you will be seeing that there are four things. The first one is this. 2, 3. Now what are those? They are known as the coefficient. Coefficient. The second thing, that what about the variable? Then in this equation, you might see that there is only x. So over here, x is variable. X is variable. And then you have the third thing, which is the value, which is 7. Now this 7 is something which is known as the constant. It is known as the constant. And the last, the power. Now over here, you see that the power of x square over here is 2 and over here it's 1. So they are nothing but they will be known as the exponent. Now let us see one by one that what do you mean by these terms. So students, first we'll talk about the constant. We'll talk about the constant. Now in the constant is something, a symbol having a fixed numerical value is called a constant. Be it anything. For example, you can take 2, it is 3, it can be pi. So where there is a one constant value should be there, that is known as the constant. So I can write it as, for example, it can be 1, it can be 2, it can be pi, because the value of pi is something which is 3.14 or 22/7. These are also the constant. So these are the examples of the constant, or it can be anything. Be it 1, 2, 3, any natural number also. Any natural number, or it can be the integers, or it can be the integers. So this is something the constant is. Then what about the variable? Now the variable is a symbol which may be assigned different values, is called variable. Now what do you think? What will be the example of the variable? So variable can be any letter, be it X, Y, Z, A, B, C, anything that comes under the any letter. So the example of variable can be X letters such as X, Y, Z, A, B, C, and etc. It can be the anything. Now let's see with one example that how we can see variable and the constant. So students, if you will see that take 2 square. So this is square, which is this one, and this is one another square. Now you know that the square is having all the four sides which are equal. Now this side for example, it is having the value of 4 centimeter. And this is something which is 8 centimeter. 8 centimeter. Now, if I want to find the perimeter, then let this is side A1, which is 4 centimeter. This is side A2, which is 8 centimeter. Now, you know that the perimeter of square is how much? It is 4 into A. 4 into A. Now, if I find the perimeter of the first square, then I should give 4A1, right? 4A1. And the perimeter of the second square will be 4 into A2. Now, over here, this 4 is nothing but the constant. And this A1 and A2, they will be the variable. They will be the variable, right? So this is what the variable and the constant is all about. Now the third thing is something which we'll call about the we'll talk about the coefficient. Now coefficient is something where the third thing is coefficient. But before the coefficient, we should talk about one more thing, which is very important to know about the coefficient. That is something which is the terms. Terms. Now, what do you mean by terms? So suppose, student, you are taking one equation, which is 2x square plus 3x plus 7x plus 7 is equals to 0. Now, this is something, the algebraic expression. Now, over here, the definition of term says that various parts of an expression which is separated by the sign of addition or subtraction. It is known as the terms. Now, in this example, term 1, this is term 1. Now, this term 1 is added with the operation. It is the addition operation with this term. So, this will be the term 2 and this will be the term 3. So, that means that with the help of the operation, you are separating the terms. You are separating the terms, right? So, in this equation, you will see that there are total 3 terms. There will be 3 terms. Now, if you got these 3 things, that is terms, then you have the variable, and then you have the constant. The final one is something which is coefficient. Now, students, coefficient is where the number which is in the front of these variables. the number which is in the front of the variable. So for example, the coefficient of x square is nothing but 2. The coefficient of x will be 3. So this is how you can solve each and every, and you can see that every term in every algebraic equation or in every polynomial value, you will be having these 4 things, be it constant, variable, terms, and coefficient. Now, in the terms, we have the separation of the things. In the terms, there are various things. So there are two types of terms. There are two types of terms. There are two types of terms. Can you guess what are those? So they will be, the first one is like terms, and the second one would be unlike terms. So students, in the like terms are those where we'll be having the same variable and the same power. We'll be having the same variable and the same power. So like terms are terms that have same variable and power. So there is not at all requirement that the coefficient should match. That the coefficient.
So the like terms are those where coefficient need not to be same. So what does it mean? So for example, now I'll be giving 7x, 9x, 12x, 14x. Now these 4 terms, if you will see, then in this all the 4 terms, you will be seeing that they are same variable x, 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 x. And there is only single power, which is power of 1, power of 1, power of 1, and power of 1. That means that they are the like terms. What about the question, which is what about 7x square, 9x cube, 12x to the power of 4, and 14x to the power of 3. What about this thing? So they are the unlike terms. Why they are the unlike terms? Why they are the unlike terms? Because first of all, they don't have the same variable. They don't have the same variable. Or if they are having the same variable, then you must check that the power of the variable. So in this all the 4, this is having variable of y, other is having variable of x. So first of the issue is with the variable, that not same variable or not having same power. If it is not having the same variable or not having the same power. So this is what the student is all about the polynomial is. Now there is something, the confusing factor, which comes into the play. The confusing factor over here is, suppose confusion factor inside the polynomials. Now, suppose student, if I am giving the question which is x to the power of -3. Question number 2, x to the power of root of x. Question number 3, x to the power of 2. And question number 4, x to the power of -7. Now, student, over here in the question number 1, is it a polynomial if I'll ask? Then no, it's not a polynomial. The second answer is again no, it's not. The third answer is yes, it's a polynomial. And the fourth answer is no, it's not a polynomial. So question number 1, it is not a polynomial. This is not a polynomial, but this one is the polynomial. Fourth one is not a polynomial. Now let us know the why it is not a polynomial. So students, the polynomial is something where the degree should be in the whole number. The degree of the polynomial, the degree or the exponent, the degree or exponent of the variable should be in the whole number. That means, do you see in the question number 1 that the degree of or the exponent of x is -3, and you know that -3 doesn't come under the whole number. So -3 is not equals to is not in whole number, not in whole number, not in the whole number. In the same way, in question number 2, it is something which is root of x, which is nothing but x to the power of 1/2. And is 1/2 is a whole number? The answer is no, it's not. It's not. And now the question number 3, yes, it's a polynomial because 2 comes under the category of the whole number. And same, x to the power of -7 is not a polynomial because -7 doesn't comes under the category of the whole number. Now, with this thing, you can also try the other questions also, like 2x, question number 2, y -2, question number 3, 5a to the power of -1, b to the power of -3, question number 4, 2x square plus 5x plus 2x plus 50. Now, what do you think? Is it a polynomial or not? So yes, question number 1 is correct. Yes, it's a polynomial because x to the power of 1 is there and 1 comes under the category of the whole number. The second question is something which is y to the power of y -2. So y is having the power of 1. Then yes, it is the polynomial. 5a to the power of -1, b to the power of -3. No, it's not. Why it's not? Because power of a or the power of 1 or the degree or the exponent of a or the exponent of b is something which is -1 and -3, and -3 doesn't comes under the whole number criteria. And the fourth one, yes, it is a polynomial. So this is what the questions are. So students, you can also try, you might get the question that find the coefficient of the polynomial. Now, in finding the coefficient of the polynomial, question number 1 is something which is 17 minus 2x plus 7x square. Question number 2, it's x square minus 12x plus 9. Question number 3, pi x square minus 2x plus 1. So let's break the question one by one and let's find out the coefficient. Now, in the question number 1, we have, first of all, we need to rearrange the equation. So first of all, the number, the coefficient or the variable with highest exponent should be written at the front. So this one would be 7x square minus 12x, and at the end, there should be the constant. So in this equation, the coefficient of x square is 7, coefficient of x is minus 2, and this is what the thing is. Let's see the question number 2 over here. The coefficient of x square is 1, and the coefficient of x is minus 12. And what about the third one? So in the third one, the coefficient of x square is pi. Coefficient of x square is pi, and the coefficient of x is minus 2. So this is what it is there. That's all for today's session. I hope you all understand the topic. Keep practicing, and I'll see you in the next time. If you have any doubt, kindly contact me on my Urban Pro profile. I'll be very happy to answer all your questions. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.